Welcome to Digital Tech by Vignesh, Balaji, and welcome to the React series that we are seeing. So in this video we are going to see the hook, that is useReducer, and also you are going to see a glimpse about useref, but this video is more detailed about useReducer, and we have already seen useState and useEffect. So and I'm going to say how useReducer is different from useState. So both deals with state, but useReducer actually whenever you have an independent component that are correlated with that state container, right, and also you have to do any like a little more complex operations on the state, then you go with useReducer. So this gives you like a reducer function, so that what you are seeing currently on top, so that has an action and a state. So state will be the whatever the state that you passed. So here it will be an empty array that I am passing, and based on the action type we will actually manipulate the state. So you might say, like, then what is the difference between useState and useReducer? So useState, we basically use it for a simple and small size applications, small size components, basically like having an boolean flag or like input value change. But when you have a complex state and you have to pass the props towards the to the child, so and where some logic is involved, then you go with the useReducer actually. So if you see the useReducer in line number 13, it takes a reducer function, and as I said, reducer function has state and action as an parameters, and the second parameter, there is an initial state that you pass. So I passing here it as an empty array, and the useReducer will return two things. One is the actual state, that is items, and the next one is dispatch. So dispatch is the action type, or that we are going to dispatch, based on which we will actually do the ToDo. So yeah, so what I'm going to do in this particular video is like I'm going to have an ToDo component using useReducer. And you also see an useref. So useref is used to like do DOM manipulation. So here this is also another way where you can actually get the input value and like manipulate the state, right? So you can get the input value and you can pass it to the reducer. So this is also another way, rather than having a useState that you've seen in the previous video. So, and also there's one thing, when it comes to useReducer, there may be a lot of questions. It might replace the Redux or something like that. So for a clarification, so for a clear your doubt, like I will say, Redux is always for the global state management, so that is common across the application, and useReducer will be for one or two components that you are going to use, where it involves some complex logic. So don't ever confuse with useReducer, Redux and useState. So each and every hooks and the concept has its own advantages, right? So we have to leverage that and use it across. So now what I'm going to do is, like, I have a sample boiler kind of a code, so where you can see you have a form and handle submit function written over here, and input ref, a placeholder, and to do div. So, and also written a sample CSS. So I just made a sample CSS over here, so that we don't want to explain detail about the sample CSS, right? So now let's start doing the to-do list. So first of all, we will start with the, like, say, handle submit. So first handle submit is function which actually dispatches an action. So that action name is like add to do, or add whatever if you want to name it, and we will add it to this state actually. So what I'm doing here, so we already bind this input with a reference, so we can actually get the value of the input ref, and we will try to still manipulate the state on submit of the form. So what we are going to do is, right, we are going to do a dispatch. So we are going to dispatch an action. So we are going to dispatch an action called type add. So type add, and we are going to have the name as like from the input ref we will get the value, right? So input ref will be like input ref dot current dot value. So this also returns the current value of the input. So yeah, so this will dispatch the action, and then we have to clear the once the dispatch is done, then we have to clear the input, current input. So I'm getting current dot value equal to empty string. Okay, so and also form submit we have to prevent the refresh, so I'm going to do eu dot prevent default. Okay, so we have now the handling the submit in place, but we don't have the action type defined here. So we have to do the action type for this particular case. So that is add. So let me make it as add. Then we are going to return the updated state from this particular case. So that is an array, so it will be like the existing state. Then we will add an id. So id will be state.length. State.length initially it will be 0, so it will start from 0 index, and name will be action.name. So the name we are passing and type we are passing. Based on the type it will come to this particular case, and we will manipulate the state. So now if you see here, we are doing addition, right? So yeah, so we are doing addition now. So and like we have did addition, but we are yet to see this to do being listed, right? So for that, what we are going to do now is that we have an UL like a to do div, inside which we will write the UL unordered list over here. So for this UL li, I have already written the CSS. So it will just to make it look good, I just did that. So similar to the whatever we did in last videos. So how to map it. And whenever you do mapping, don't forget to make use of the keys. So that is how React will look for a change and re-render that particular element, right? So make sure whenever you are writing a map, keep in mind you should make also use of the keys. Otherwise it will throw on warning and it might cause some performance issues. So whenever you do some coding, right, so make sure you are writing a good code, so that in practice, if you are doing that, so whenever you write a code for any even for a POC or any hackathon, you will get that flow. Otherwise you will miss it. So now so let us stop till this point, like just printing the name, and then we'll get listed below. So now you can see whenever we type and do form submit, it will actually dispatch an action. And that is type add, and it will add those to-dos over here. And whenever I'm tapping add, you can see that UL is only the particular UL is being updated, right? Yeah, so that is how this useReducer work. And also when we look for something called deleting the to-do, so we will also do it for this deleting to-do. So in delete to do, what we are going to do is, like, similarly we have to write the case for delete to do. So we will give it a name called remove, and then we will filter the state based on the so we are going to use index, that is the ID, that index as an unique value here. So if we are passing index, then it will be like a index that is not equal to the action of index. So that will be getting updated in the return from the remove action. For every item, expect the one that we want to remove. So that's basically what we are doing here. So that is action dot index. So we're going to pass the index, and we are going to check with the current index that is being passed to the filter. So that will return the updated one, and inside the ULLI we also have to have a button. So button, so that will just make it a small X so that it shows symbol kind of delete, and then we will have an on click function, so where we have to pass the type and as well as the index, right? So here in dispatch we're gonna have the type name as remove, and we are going to pass the index of the index over here. So let's see this in action. Yeah, if you see here we delete this particular item and we could able to delete all those lists. So this is how this to-do list using useReducer will work, and in coming videos we will see more complex examples on useReducer in coming lectures, not the next lecture that I'm going to put. So we will see how to use the useReducer and do the same. And thanks for your time, guys, and please like, share and subscribe, and refer this playlist to the people who just starting with the cat. Thank you.